All right, this hangout on air is live. I'm bringing you her sounds. Come on, don't stop right now.
Seems you had a motorboat in there, Allison.
She's got her face right into it. All right, that's good. That's good video and audio right there. Oh, all right. That is enough silliness for now. Let's see. Sandy is, whoa, I think my camera's not quite right yet. Sandy is trying to get into the chat room. Let me look at her second screenshot here and see if I can see what's going on here. Chat on it. Yeah. So you've got the server settings right, but you need to connect and go into a room. So I think you might need to do the channel list thing next. So
well, also she should just check her identity, make sure.
If you you got to get a channel list though first. You don't have an identity until you go into there. So go in the left sidebar, there's channel list, and you want to add a channel call or find the channel hashtag NosillaCast. And if you don't do that, you actually aren't anywhere. Oh, look, it tells me how many people are in there. I didn't know that. It shows 12 people in there right now.
12 users.
It's very exciting. All right.
Pause.
Bring back the cat. Alistair's tired of me already. All right. It is time for roll call. We have Kevin and Nick and maybe Jen O'Troy and Stephen and maybe Joe and John and Rose and Richard and Sandy and Alistair and Steve. And that would have been Grace purring for you. All right. Let's see if you can hear this. Let me do a little playback. I did a little early recording. Come on. Oh, I got a track. There we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, October 22nd. All right. Is that working?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
All right.
Oh, we have someone I don't recognize.
Diana from NosillaCast. Hi there. How are you, Diana? I've heard of NosillaCast, haven't I?
Yeah, that sounds
rings a bell. Has Diana been here before?
Not that I can recall, but I'm not good.
But our memory is pretty good
sometimes.
So better check the magic decoder ring.
I'm doing just that.
All right. We got a big show today. Big show. Should be really fun. All right. I wonder if Sandy looks like she's in. Woo!
Yeah, she is in.
All right. Very exciting.
Good.
Whether she got colloquy or got textual to work.
I'm going to ask her.
That'd be good. Your typing is really loud today.
All right. I'll.
Do you have a cloth or some spongy cloth you can put under the stand? Maybe you need a boom for your mic for your birthday or Christmas.
Oh, she's in on the. Oh, yes.
It did work? Oh, good. She's in on textual. Fantastic. Yeah, one of the things you can set in there is a little thing that says connect on login. So as soon as you connect to the server, it throws you right into the room. So you might want to do that, or you have to do it every time. I think I might be in, she says. Sani? Okay, there we go. All right. So I think it's probably time to get this show on the road. What do you think, Steve?
I think it's time. Hit it, Podfeet.
Mute. Oh, wait.
No,
it's not time yet. You said my webcam settings were set wrong, that my focus was on autofocus again. Why does it keep doing that?
I don't know.
I have been updating profile every time, and I will do it again.
It just doesn't save from the last session.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Mute. There, he's gone. Okay, now I can talk and say whatever I want. Okay, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, October 22nd, 2017, and this is show number 650. We got a big show today with a contribution from Rick from Baltimore, and we have a special out-of-band episode of Security Bits. Bart and I thought it would be a really good idea to talk about the crack vulnerability that has been the hot security topic this whole week. I'm really glad we had a week to absorb what was going on before I was thinking, oh man, we should do it on Monday. But on Monday, everything was light your hair on fire. And it turns out you probably don't need to lose sleep over this one. Well, Bart was, once he got into doing crack, he decided he should do Roca. And then he said, what the heck? Why don't we do a whole security bits? So I didn't have to do nearly as much work this week because he did all the work. I've also got a review for you as well. So we should probably get started. Hey, who's pinging me? Kevin, don't ping me when I'm on the show, okay? Seriously, you're talking to me on Telegram, and I don't know if it's just Telegram. I get all the alerts from Telegram when I'm on Do Not Disturb. I can Do Not Disturb my phone, my iPad, my iPhone, and my Mac, and I still get all the messages.
He was actually responding to me, but it was okay. It was a joint Telegram.
That's nice. I'm still getting pinged, so that's why I stopped the show like 30 seconds in. That's okay. That's fine. All right. On Chit Chat Across the Pond this week, did I say that? Really as much work this week because he did all the work. I've also got a review for you as well, so we should probably... Okay, seriously? It's nice. That's Android just talking for no reason.
What was that?
I don't know. It was saying 5:06 and showing me some little starry things there. You're going into a timeout. I don't know how to turn this phone off. There you go. Power off. Bye-bye. It happens during chit chat also. So that, or during security bits. So that's good. Oh my God, are you kidding me? It just made noise shutting itself down. I've also got a review for you. Okay. What is with your typing? It is so loud.
Oops, I'll mute here.
Are you on your MacBook?
Nope.
Oh, I forgot to show off my necklace. Check this out. I got this in the mail from Jody Spangler. I don't know why she sent it to me, but she just out of the blue sent me this beautiful Apple 6 colors logo necklace. Isn't that cool?
Bring it a little closer.
Well, it's like hard.
There you go. That's quite nice.
Good neck shot.
Yeah. Does that open up?
Armpit. We tried to open it up, but we couldn't figure it out. All right. Okay. All right. Mute. I've got a review. Okay. Jeez. I've got a review for you as well, so we probably should get started. On Chit Chat Across the Pond this week, I had the great pleasure of talking to Mark Fawcett of MacMen. We met in Chicago at MacStock this year, which is another reason you should go to MacStock because there's cool people to meet. But anyway, when I met him, I just knew we would have a blast talking about his work as an in-home Apple tech support person because he has some stories to tell, that's for sure. Anyway, check it out in either the Chit Chat Across the Pond Lite podcast feed or the full Chit Chat Across the Pond feed in your podcatcher of choice. And as always, you can listen to it directly at podfeed.com. I've told you before about one of my favorite non-tech podcasts, the Phileas Club. It's not the kind of thing you'd think I'd be interested in. In fact, I didn't think I would be interested in it. It's all about international news, and it's hosted by the wonderful Patrick Beja, who's actually been on Chit Chat Across the Pond. Patrick has an amazing ability to get people to explain the culture and significant events in their countries. I bring this show up yet again because this week he did a special episode that was all about Ireland with one single guest, our very own Bart Bouchat. I have to tell you, I've known Bart for more than a decade, and we've had so many discussions about culture and history and religion and politics in Ireland, but I am still learning a lot that we never discussed through the Phileas Club episode. He was an absolutely fantastic guest for Patrick to have on his show. Anyway, go check it out at frenchspin.com. And of course, there's a direct link to it in the show notes. All right, enough bragging about Bart, though. This week, I got to be on the Daily Tech News Show again, but this time the show was hosted by Sarah Lane. Tom was recently able to add her full-time to the DTNS team because of enormous support by his patrons. She is absolutely fabulous. I've always really loved watching and listening to her, so it was really great fun to be on a show directly with her. You can go watch or listen at a link in the show notes to dailytechnewsshow.com. It's episode 3142 entitled Twitter's To-Do List, Solve Hate.
That's a good show title.
I know. Who came up with that?
As I recall, you picked that.
Yeah, I did. I picked it. I didn't write it.
You didn't write it, right. It was on the list from the chat room folks.
Yeah. So they do an interesting thing. They have a little voting thing called showbot.tv that somebody wrote. I forget who wrote it.
Is it unique to DTNS or is it a general service?
No, it's not unique to DTNS and it's not a general service. It's a Diamond Club service. Some Diamond Club guy wrote it.
So okay, that's why they use it for all the Diamond Club shows.
Yeah. So anything Brian Brushwood-ish, that part of the family.
Or Scott Johnson-ish or
he's Frog Pants Network. So he's they're cousins. It's all hard.
First cousins. First cousins, right.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Oh, Alistair says, I'll have to add the Phillies Club to my backlog of podcasts. Yeah, it's, wow, that show is extraordinary. He had a guy on there talking about what's going on in Venezuela, and I didn't know anything was going on in Venezuela, so I learned all about Venezuela, but people are having to flee the country, and the guy said that when they run across the Colombian border, the Colombians are waiting for them with welcoming arms, with food, with water, and doing everything to help them have a peaceful and helpful transition into their country. No visas, nothing required. And I got to tell you, that floored me. I mean, I never, you think Colombia, you think drugs, you think Colombia, you think mafia, you think guns. Turns out they're like these amazing people who've been fantastic to the people of Venezuela. So, it helps to get different perspectives on life.
Good job, Podfeed. I didn't even have to tell you.
I was wondering why you hadn't told me yet.
I was about to. Yeah. I was waiting for the talking to stop.
It's been the wrong place ever since Grace got off mic. She might come back. Okay, here he goes. Sounds like a lot of inbreeding, Kevin says. To dailytechnewsshow.com. It's episode 3142 entitled Twitter's To-Do List, Solve Hate.
Hi, Allison. It's Rick from Baltimore.
This guy's got a great voice. Great story to tell. I'm going to let this one run. Little Twitter's To-Do List, Solve Hate.
Hi, Allison. It's Rick from Baltimore, and I had a problem that needed to be solved. You probably know that the Photos app on Mac and iOS has a feature where we can name people in individual photos, and then those people will be grouped together and added to the default People album in the app. It's sort of like keywording, but using the person's name instead. In addition to us naming people ourselves, Photos app uses its own algorithms to identify people, and that helps quite a bit in moving the naming process along. It's not perfect, but definitely better than having to sort through each of my 15,000 photos, trying to name all my friends and family members individually. Now, prior to the release of High Sierra and iOS 11, it was necessary to name people on each computer or iOS device separately. There was no syncing of people's names between devices sharing the same iCloud account. But now with Apple's latest software updates, syncing is available, so that if you name someone on your Mac, that name syncs over to any other device or Mac using the same iCloud account. So if you wanted to see all the pictures of Uncle Ralph, you could go to the People's album and click on the image of Uncle Ralph, and voila, all the photos where you identified Uncle Ralph appear together on each device you own. Very handy, especially when Uncle Ralph is around. In my case, over the past couple of years, though, I have been haphazardly naming people in photos on each of my computers and iOS devices, none of which, of course, synced, which left me with 4 separate People albums with a lot of inconsistent naming. Now, with the advent of iCloud syncing, what I wanted to do was start over, wipe out all the names of people I had previously entered, and then begin again on my iMac, knowing that all those newly identified people would also sync to my MacBook, my iPhone, and my iPad. So what's the problem to be solved? Everything I read in Apple Help or on the internet described how to rename one person at a time. As I have over 15,000 photos, that would take me forever to go to each photo, delete any names previously entered by me or by the Apple algorithms, and then add the names back in again. Photos app does have a function where you can merge 2 or more incorrectly named people to reduce the clutter, but even that would take forever trying to find all the inconsistent naming data and then merging them together for each person. What I really needed was a reset all button that would clear all the names I had previously entered. But after asking around and checking the interwebs, I could not find any way to do that. Then I got lucky. I was on my iMac and clicked on the People album in the left sidebar. Up popped the usual garbled mess of images and names resulting from all my prior naming efforts. In a fit of frustration, I selected all the photos in the People album, not all the photos in my main photo library, and hit the delete button. Much to my surprise, it didn't delete anything. Instead, it offered to reset all the names in my People album that I had previously entered. Exactly what I was looking for. After making a backup of my current photo library, let me read that again. After making a backup of my current photo library, I clicked delete in the People's album and all the names I had entered disappeared, and photos started re-indexing all my photos, searching for names to apply. Again, exactly what I wanted. It's now been 3 days since I reset, and all my devices are still updating with the cloud, but slowly but surely I've been able to rebuild my People album exactly the way I wanted it, all synced across all my devices. Amen and hallelujah. So if you want to start over naming people in your People album, this is the way to do it. It's undocumented as far as I can tell. One word of caution, it is a fair amount of work to rename everyone all over again, even with the help of Apple's algorithms. So make sure you are willing to put in the effort. For me, ending up with a clean, manageable, and searchable People album synced across all my devices was definitely worth the effort.
There we go. All right. All right, I'm going to start recording right here. All right, I got to turn my fan off. Hot in here. Yeah, I think Kelly's haunts me is what's actually happening. Should I tell that story too?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell the one about the photo, but I might do it. People like the inside story, personal stuff, you know. All right, here we go.
Devices was definitely worth the effort.
Well, Rick, I absolutely love this. I think my favorite part was when you repeated that you backed up your photos library. Very well done. You know, it's really a shame, though, that it took random poking of buttons to figure this out, but I sure appreciate you finding it and telling all of us about it. You know, I tried setting up Faces back when it was called Faces. I think it's called People now in Photos just ages ago, but I ran out of steam when I figured out that it didn't sync across devices. So I don't know, what good did that do? I'm not sure I'll get the energy up again to start, but maybe you've convinced me to start again. I do have one bit of advice about doing Faces in Photos in People, whatever that's called. Start with the person for whom you have the most pictures. Now, this sounds vain. I'm not quite sure how this happens, but there's more pictures of me in my photo library than there are of everybody else. And I waited to do me, or maybe it wasn't the most of me, but there were a lot of me. And I waited till the end to do me. And it turned out everybody else's pictures, it would say, especially like anybody who had brown hair, would go, is this you? Is this her? Is this her? And it would always be me. So I think if I'd eliminated the vast majority of them first, the later ones would get easier and easier. I sort of started with the little ones first, and definitely don't do that. Do it the other way around, because it just takes way longer to do it that way. Anyway, one thing I did want to tell you is Photos does do some guessing on its own on the names. It has some algorithm in the background figuring this out. I found something in my People album that really made me smile. My brother Kelly passed away a few years ago, but he was a huge Apple fan. In People, under Kelly, Apple Photos put a thumbnail of a photo I took of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates on stage at All Things Digital. Luckily, it labeled Steve Jobs as Kelly Moorhead, not Bill Gates. That would have really made him mad. And, you know, I often think, you're going to think I don't sound very scientific, though, but I sometimes think that Kelly is haunting me because he does stuff like this. before he passed away, using my computer, he made a recording for his wife. And so it was in my iTunes library. I don't know if this is still true, but at least at one time, iTunes would figure out what a song was based on the exact number of bits that were in the song. So it would do a pattern matching of the number of bits. And in my iTunes library, I suddenly found that I had a recording of the Dalai Lama reading his audiobook. And I would say, well, what is that? And I hit play, and it was my brother Kelly. And my brother was a Buddhist. So it's obvious that Kelly's doing this stuff on purpose to me. And so luckily he stopped by to say hello this week and show me that picture of him as Steve Jobs.
That's pretty good. Hey, Alistair was asking if that is the photo you took at All Things D.
Yeah, and I just said that.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was looking at the chat room.
It didn't. Okay. Yeah, it is. It's actually just the thumbnail. It didn't pull the real photo, the full size photo. It was just the thumbnail.
Got it.
All right, here we go. Oh, should I save? Kevin says so. I do whatever.
Save pod feed.
All right. Who's NC pipe 78323? That is a pipe, isn't it?
Yeah, and it turns out that's the default that your chat client is putting in pod feed.
The Lime Chat interface.
I don't know if you can adjust that, or is that just automated?
It's automated.
Maybe you cycled through all of the 5-digit numbers and is having to put a pipe in front, which is a very natural number to type or character.
All right, here we go. One of my frustrations in life is that I can spot a typo in someone else's work from a mile away, but I simply cannot see my own mistakes. Seriously, like a printed page on the other side of a desk facing upside down to me is a cakewalk to see the mistakes. But in what I can only assume is a built-in delusion about my own writing talents, I am somehow precluded from seeing where I have botched something up. I run spell checkers. I have Steve read my blog posts before they're permanently up or published, I should say. Sometimes I even trick Stephen Getz into reading things for me. And I have early warning systems in place, like Roger Nash from England, who gets up before anyone else and tells me about my errors. I'm going to stop really quick. There's somebody else I want to get credit for. Who was it this morning? Trevor and Canberra. Other people jump in to help carry the load, like Trevor and Canberra. I mean, everybody's trying to find these errors for me, but still, these errors seem to leak through. When we're lucky, I'll be reading a post for the podcast and I'll see a mistake and I'll stop and fix it. But those blog posts have been up for days with these mistakes, and it really drives me nuts. Now, I may have found the solution to my problem, or at least a partial solution. It's a web service called Grammarly from Grammarly.com. This product has a bunch of facets, so I'll start with how I use it, and then I'll expand into what else it can do. Grammarly can be installed as a browser plugin. You can simply go to the extensions or plugins or add-ons directory, whatever they call it, for your favorite browser, or you can go to support.grammarly.com and find direct links to the one that you want. Once Grammarly is installed in your browser, you simply navigate to any website where you'd like to add content and start typing. It can be making a comment on a blog, writing a bug report to a developer, or maybe even writing social media posts on sites like Twitter, Google+, or Facebook. Almost anywhere on the web that has text fields. Now, I say almost because you cannot use Grammarly in Google Drive, like on a Google Doc. They do say that they hope to have it soon, and they have a workaround, but we'll get to that in a little bit. After installing the Grammarly plugin to your browser, when you start typing into a text box on the web, down at the bottom right of the text box, you'll see a green spinny thing while you're typing. Now, if you're really good at writing, it may stay green. But if you're like me, it will turn into a red circle with a white number inside it, showing you how many corrections it thinks you need. In addition, each presumed error will be underlined in red. Now, so far, it sounds like any operating system's built-in spell checker. But with Grammarly, you don't have to click on anything. You just hover over any of those red lines, and Grammarly will tell you what she thinks you did wrong. Misspelled words are pretty obvious. You can click on the correct spelling to fix the mistake. You can also choose ignore if you think or know that she's wrong. But you might have an odd word that you want to add to the dictionary. If you choose that option, you'll be prompted to create a login to Grammarly, which you don't have to do, but I'll tell you why you really probably would want to do it. The login is free. In addition to giving you a stored dictionary that I just mentioned, you can enable or disable Grammarly on preferred websites, and they'll send you weekly writing statistics and tips. They haven't been spammy at all with these tips in my experience, so that's not a bad thing. I find Grammarly much quicker to fix my typos simply because I don't have to click on the mistakes, only on the fixes for the mistakes. It's rather pleasing in that way. I don't know why. I just like it so much better. Turns out she finds lots of places where I'm missing commas, and for some reason, many more places where I should have put them in, but I didn't. The weird thing is that most of the time in reading her corrections, I can absolutely tell that she's right. It's not that I don't know the rules, it's that I just get sloppy, I guess, and I don't follow the rules. The funny thing is she found a missing typo in my intro sentence that is actually a text expander snippet, which means it's been on every single NosillaCast blog post like forever. Now, I don't want her to get a swelled head. It turns out, because she's simply completely wrong from time to time. But I'd say the game is running about 20-1 in her favor. Another thing she finds for me is where I'm missing hyphens. Just this week, I wrote lickety split and I forgot the hyphen. I mean, come on, everybody knows lickety split has a hyphen, right? Apple spell check simply thought the word should have been rickety or lackey. It kept giving me other answers, but Grammarly had the right answer. I write my blog posts in a great blogging tool called Mars Edit from red-sweater.com, and then I push them up to my blog. I write in the HTML editor there, so my text is full of HTML code. That usually causes spell checkers to lose their ever-loving minds, but not Grammarly. For the most part, she simply ignores it, which is exactly what I want. Pretty cool algorithm that she can tell the difference between code and regular text. Clicking on the browser plugin icon in your toolbar of your browser reveals an option to change from American English to British English. No other languages, though, I'm afraid. If you're looking at your writing and you're not happy with the word, you can double-click on it and get a synonym. While you're there, it will even define the word for you, which can be super handy if you're not sure you use the correct word. There's one more very cool thing about having a Grammarly login, and it's the answer to not being able to have Grammarly check your Google Docs. If you navigate to app.grammarly.com, you can create documents right within the browser like you would with a Google Doc. You don't need to remember or bookmark that URL. Just click on the browser extension button for Grammarly in your toolbar, and you can go right to My Grammarly to see all of your documents, or go right to New Document and get to typing. You can even upload a document right into My Grammarly, to have it be checked. I tested it with a .doc and a .rtf file, and they both worked, but a PDF did not, which makes sense. In the web interface, when you upload a document, it even preserves the formatting so you can export when you're done and not lose all of your work. I haven't exhaustively tested that, so if you're a big old formatter, you'd want to check that out for yourself and see if it really works as good as it sounds. As well as it sounds? I'll have to check with Grammarly on that. Anyway, in the web interface, you can see your personal dictionary where you've saved your words. Right from there, you can delete words from the dictionary or add new ones manually. I have more to tell you about Grammarly, but let's take a quick break to follow the money. There is an awful lot of goodness to get for free in here, but Grammarly also has a premium model. With the premium model, you get customized checks for more than 30 different document types. Let's say you write academic essays, for example. You might want to upgrade to premium. It has a plagiarism checker. It keeps you from unintentionally borrowing content. It has vocabulary enhancement, and so you could, write more smarter-like. You can even get a professional proofreader to help you with the premium model. Now, if you just buy a month of premium, it's $30, but you get price breaks for longer commitments. The least expensive monthly plan is an annual plan that ends up being $11.66 per month. Now, for a non-professional blogger, that's kind of steep, but for someone who makes their living writing, that's really not that bad. Okay, now you're with me, now that they have a business plan, because I'm sure you were all thinking that in the meantime. Well, as I've looked into Grammarly more deeply, I keep finding new cool things. I was poking around on My Grammarly, and I found a tab that talked about apps. When in Safari, it showed me the Safari extension for Grammarly, and when in Firefox, it showed me the Firefox extension under apps. But in both, it showed me Grammarly for OS X. I forgave them for not knowing it's called Mac OS now, and I downloaded the app. By the way, I was too lazy to scrape the dust off my PC and boot it up to find out whether there's a Windows desktop app for Grammarly, but I would presume that there is. Grammarly for the desktop opens with a little 5-page guide. It explains that all Grammarly documents are stored in the cloud, so there's no syncing or saving to worry your pretty little head about. Unless you don't want to store it in the cloud, of course, in which case that isn't going to work for you. Well, with Grammarly on the desktop, you can drag documents right into the interface or use copy and paste. The standalone macOS app works beautifully. It's pretty much indistinguishable from the web interface at My Grammarly, so you won't have any trouble getting the hang of using it. Now, beautiful might be in the eye of beholder because neither the web nor desktop versions are accessible to screen readers. In Grammarly on the web or in the app, you can turn on and off checks for contextual spelling, grammar, punctuation, sentence structures, and style. Maybe you think you know everything about punctuation and you'd rather not have her nagging you. Then flip off that switch and she'll still tell you how bad your grammar is, but she won't correct you about your punctuation. Steve and I have both been using Grammarly for a couple of weeks, and I've noticed a marked decrease in typos when I go to read posts for the podcast. Premium is not a really big draw for me, but they do have a thing where if I refer someone to Grammarly Premium, I get a free month, and so do you. If you'd like to test Premium and want to have me enter your email, just drop me a line at allison@podfeet.com and I'll hook you up. I promise my feelings won't be hurt if no one wants to give it a spin, but I thought I'd give that offer if you want a free month of the premium service. Go check out Grammarly at grammarly.com. It has fixed 231 critical problems for me so far.
So Ian joined us.
Ian.
And,
how are you, Ian?
And Alistair's been cracking a bunch of jokes.
Are they dad jokes?
They're all related to the English language and how it's kind of difficult for some people to pick up because it's such a crazy language.
Wow. What is with your microphone?
Read his last one.
I can barely hear because there's so much noise from your mic there. I read a joke once, that one.
Yeah.
A French gentleman wanting to impress his girlfriend with his grasp of the language and also declare his love for her. What he wanted to say was, your face is timeless. What he actually said, your face could stop a clock. That's a dad joke right there.
Yes, it is. I might have to remember that one.
Oh, that's great. Let's see. Breathe deeply, Podfeet. There's another composition minefield. Drop a line at allison@podfeet.com. Why is that preposition? Yeah. Actually, you know, it's funny, Steve. I forgot to refresh. So the typos that you had fixed, they were still in that when I was trying to read. I mean, it was especially that first one where it was actually, I don't know, split infinitives or something.
Oh, that line that just had no subject.
Yeah, actually, Uncle Bob, in reading that, referred to the kind of mistake it was, and he wasn't talking about me, but I think it's called an indefinite clause.
Yeah.
So there's a definite and indefinite clauses. Indefinite clauses can stand alone. Indefinite clauses can have a noun and a verb, but still not be a correct sentence.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those.
That did not stand alone.
No. All right, mute. Well, before we kick into security bits, I wanted to tell you, as you're perusing podfeet.com to read articles and listen to the podcast, as I've been telling you here, please pay special attention to the Amazon links you may find. The links used are affiliate links. By buying through the links, I may receive a commission for the sale, and this has no effect on the price for you. All right, where's my security bits music? It is toasty in here. All right, security bits goes here. And then
it's cooler outside now. Is it a
I have my windows open.
I think I lost your audio.
I can still, it sounds like I'm still there.
Oh, it's just delayed. Okay. We got a little delay going. Interesting.
That's weird.
No, caught up.
All right, where's security bits? Where did I put it? That's got to be it. In there, that should be in here. And then that should be here. Security bits. I have got to find out do you guys hear all that noise coming from his mic? It sounds like you're going. You said you have a fan on?
No, I turned that off.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Really? You know what he's doing right there? He's doing the dog that have you seen that video of the actually you should find the link for that. It's a video of a guy talking to his dog, and he's talking about food, and there's a voiceover of the dog with a guy going, yeah, what and it's like this really, really mean video of how he's torturing the dog with his food. It's hilarious.
It's one of the funniest videos about dogs.
We play it over and over and over again. We just love it. Alrighty. And this has no effect on the price for you. Well, it's not a little too soon. Too soon. Well, it's not normally that time of the week again, but Bart and I have decided it is that time of the week again for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. Something big happened this week, huh, Bart?
Well, yeah, and then something else big. And initially it was going to be an out-of-band security medium where we just talked about the one big newsworthy bug. And then I was like, yeah, but then there's this other bug, and then there's all of this security news. So I decided, why don't we record a normal show, and then next weekend I only have half as much work to do.
Yeah, there you go.
Only it's probably not going to work out like that, because this one feels pretty big, actually, even though it's only one with news.
I would like to say, my first impression was, God, I would love to have just done it with you on Monday, and we'd be on top of this and everything. But so much information came out in the last week that what we would have said on Monday is different than what we're saying on what is now Saturday, right?
Yeah, on one day I probably would have said, "Oh my God, set your hair on fire," and now I'm saying, "No, it's fine. Don't worry about it." Well, not don't worry about it. That's putting it.
There's things to do. It's not as bad as it sounded.
Yeah, precisely. In reality, don't panic. Yes, this is serious. This will be remembered as one of those, big events. I mean, it's not nothing, but it is not the catastrophe that we all thought it was. And actually, the things everyone fixated on Monday were completely the wrong things to fixate on. So we'll go through it in detail, but basically we all had the wrong end of the stick on Monday as a planet. Like, not just me and Alison, Ars Technica, everyone was focusing on the one thing we shouldn't have been focusing on, which is wireless access points. They're kind of irrelevant. Not fully irrelevant, but mostly irrelevant.
I do want to get a little gold star, not a big one, but Steve and I both listened to Security Now with Steve Gibson.
Well, you don't often do that. So you
never, yeah. So a little gold star, but the thing I've got to watch out that I don't do is assume the audience knows everything I know from listening to that, because I might not be able to play the dummy as much as I usually do. So I will try to,
and actually they covered both. Yeah, so both security mediums or security media, whatever way we pluralize that word, they're both covered in this week's, as in the week just gone's Security Now. So if anyone wants to listen to a more propeller beanie version of what we talk about today, both of these big stories are covered on that show quite well, actually.
Yeah, this would be good to have you break it down for us into NosillaCast level.
Well, let's have a go then. So the first security medium, and I think this one definitely made the most news. So it's called we have to have a fancy pants name, because you can't talk about a bug without a fancy pants name. So this one is called Cracks, or Crack, depending on.
Did Bart say things like fancy pants names before me?
But it's a pseudo acronym for key reinstallation attacks. And it really should be plural, because they didn't find a bug.
He's picked up a couple words.
They found a whole bunch of bugs which are all related to the same mistake. And this is one of the scariest kinds of mistakes. This is a protocol bug. Okay. So when things go horribly wrong, they go horribly wrong. Usually, it's an implementation bug. So someone writes a spec, and then lots of different vendors implement that spec, and one or more of those vendors get something wrong. And so then you will say, you must patch your ASUS router, because ASUS made a mistake in implementing something.
Right.
But then sometimes we have the other kind, where the problem was in the spec. And so everyone who followed the spec has the problem. And that's where we are here.
Is that what's called a protocol? You would call a protocol failure?
Yeah.
Or?
No, it's a protocol vulnerability. So basically the problem is in the protocol. not in the implementation of the protocol. So the rules are wrong, and anyone who followed the rules is also wrong. Sometimes people just fail to follow the rules, but in this case, if you follow the rules, you have the problem. Okay. And ironically, if you didn't follow the rules, you may not have the problem, which actually is why your iOS device is fine. Apple didn't fully implement the spec, and the bit Apple didn't implement had no effect on the functionality of the devices, but it meant they didn't have this bug because they basically took a shortcut.
Okay, well let's back up. We haven't even said we haven't even said Wi-Fi yet, by the way.
We haven't exactly. So Crack is the name the thing got. So it's a bug in the WPA2 protocol. So WPA is Wi-Fi protected access, and WPA2 is version 2 of the Wi-Fi protected access protocol, and that is what we have been telling people for years to be sure you're using.
I remember when we said stop using WEP, right? Because WEP is cracked. You got to use WPA, then you had to use WPA2, and we were golden.
I see, but the thing is, that's about 5 or 6 years ago that we said that.
Yeah.
So it's not entirely surprising that now something has come up with WPA2. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Bart has just said that the WPA2 spec is broken. Does that mean we need WPA3, which doesn't exist yet? The answer is no. Thankfully, this is a very, very, very small tweak to the spec. And in terms of practical coding, this will involve the people who write the drivers adding in an if statement.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yes. This really comes out as saying, if news. X has happened, or rather, only do this if this is true. It's basically, at the moment, it's doing a thing in situations where it shouldn't, so you just need to protect that with an if statement to make sure that everything's okay before you do that one thing. So it's just one if statement to protect one small chunk of code from being run too often.
Okay.
So the important thing to say is it's a protocol bug. So I'm not going to dive too far into technical minutia, but I do want to clear up a few things. So, the first technical thing to note about how WPA2 works is that it encrypts your Wi-Fi traffic. And as far as we home users are concerned, we connect to that network with a password. You might think that the password is used to encrypt the data. It is not. So the pre-shared key, which is the fancy pants name for a password, it's a PSK, which is why you will hear our home networks called WPA2-PSK.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Pre-shared key, in other words, Wi-Fi passwords.
All right. I think I should start winding us up here. We're going to get out of class early tonight. How does that sound?
We can do that.
All right. Here we go. Let's wind this up. All right.
Talked about today. Stay patched and stay secure.
Well, there's a reason he says those words, isn't it? Anyway, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions. You can email me at allison@podfeet.com. You can follow me on Twitter @podfeet. Steve, you have got to mute.
Oh, muting now.
The noise is huge. Let me start this over again. We got to figure out what you have going on there, because it's not normal.
Oh, that new keyboard I got.
You did not get a new keyboard.
I did with the iMac, right?
Yeah, but it's
different.
I don't even think it's like, I'm just hearing it constantly. Like, are you typing right now?
No.
I'm hearing it right now.
Really? Something else is going on then. I might have a bad connection.
Maybe. All right, mute.
Patched and stay secure.
Well, I guess there's a reason he says that at the end of every episode. Anyway, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions. I've not had a dumb question in a while, at least not one that I could answer. You can send those comments and suggestions to me at allison@podfeet.com. You can follow me on Twitter @podfeet. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You want to contribute to the show? Go to podfeet.com/Patreon. Buying something on Amazon? Go to podfeet.com/Amazon. If you want to join the communities, you can join in Facebook at podfeet.com/Facebook, or the Google Plus community, if you're of that persuasion, is at podfeet.com/Google+. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCast castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Invented vocal fry. A merger between two neutron stars? What are you talking about?
John says it's a low frequency thump.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's real low. It sounds to me like you're hitting your desk.
Does it change? So I'm going to go on mute. Tell me if that thump goes.
No, mute. It's gone. It's 100% immediately.
So you can hear as soon as I go to mute, the thump goes away.
Yep.
Interesting.
And it's intermittent. It's not like,
Huh. Now my window's open, but I don't hear much sound. I just kind of hear very low level stuff. I could close it and see if it makes a difference.
Yeah. I mean, is there a breeze coming in, hitting the mic?
Here, let me close it.
Okay.
I'm going to mute.
Okay. We get to see his armpits here. Let's see. If you would just mute all the time, then I wouldn't have to hear him at all, right?
How's that?
Nope, it's still there. Maybe I should go in and see what he's doing. What do you guys think? We should switch places. Let's do that. Let me hear this. Enthusiastic NosillaCast. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. That's too high.
Okay, so someone said like a cord hitting the mic. So is this doing it?
No.
No? Okay. That was my headphone.
Cord. And stay subscribed. There it was again. Hunk.
Well, I'm hearing
subscribe. Okay.
I'm hearing once in a while a click, but I just chalked it up to
it's not a click.
The Hangout.
Yeah, that actually is probably a USB interface problem that I can't get rid of, but no, it's definitely a it's not a click. Let's switch places. Watch, this will be crazy. Whoa.
Okay, I'm taking over now.
Okay, don't touch anything.
Okay, make some noise.
Oh, that was your beer. Do you hear anything? So I'm not moving.
Pretty quiet.
But if I touch the keyboard.
Move your headphones a little bit.
I was moving the keyboard.
Oh, yeah, there is something. What is that?
Are you hearing it repetitively right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm tapping the base of your microphone stand, but I assume you weren't doing that.
No.
Oh, I see one thing. Hang on. Could this be doing it? Let's get this. Let me try this. Okay, now I'm just sitting here. I'm not touching anything. What, are you hearing it right now? So
no.
Your the cable coming out of the back of the mic was folded up against the monitor on the right.
Oh.
So now if I were to, let me type in the chat room. This is me typing. Are you hearing it now?
I definitely hear that.
Do you hear it as a thump?
Yeah, when you type, but it stops when you stop typing.
Okay. So
I hear that.
Okay, so were you making the noise when you weren't, were we saying there was a noise when you weren't moving at all?
I think you said that, but maybe I'm making some motion that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, let's have you come back and this is good video. Okay, let's see if I fixed it. Are you muted, Steve, or are you talking?
Neither. I was not muted and I was not talking.
That's a good point. You were doing either one. I don't hear it now.
How about if I move my chair?
Well, that's not it.
Okay.
I think that was it.
All right.
No, I'm hearing a little bit of it.
How about
still.
this?
Yes.
Okay, so it's my hands on the desk. Oh, you know what it might be? I had these little suspension bands in my mic.
Yeah.
And they're getting really, like there's no elastic left.
Oh, it's
So
hitting
I
the
think it's
bottom.
resting on the bottom. And I think
Oh yeah, that could be it.
this. So the mic is picking up desk
Yeah, I got the
noise.
stand reminder too. Sorry, Alistair's standing, so I got to stand. Everybody up! Come on,
All right.
everybody up. I guess I could tilt this up so it didn't look like that. Everybody up. Is everybody standing?
Yep.
Occupy Mars. I said I was born ready. This is a DTNS shirt. It's actually I was born ready as Patrick Beja, so it's sort of an homage to the whole thing.
All right. Should we help Sandy?
Yeah, I think I don't think people want to watch us help Sandy, so I think we should probably call it. All right, guys.
Well, how are we going to help her?
I'll get
Offline?
on messages with her. Okay. Sandy. Meet you on messages. Sandy. I can't tell if I don't think I typed that right. I only typed one S. All right. Well, I'm going to hang up on Kevin first this time. We will say goodbye to NosillaCast. Goodbye, Kevin. All right. And now I'm going off air. Say goodbye, Steve.
Good night, Gracie.